Over 2,000 years ago, ancient Chinese scholars observed the changing patterns in our natural world, the climate, the turning of the seasons, and astronomy. The scholars measured and divided the sun's annual movements into 24 equal parts, creating the 24 solar terms, which were used to govern agriculture in ancient China. Even to this day, this invention still guides the lives and traditions of hundreds of millions of Chinese people. Every year, around May the 5th, Chinese people welcome in the first summer solar term, the beginning of summer. Traditions include eating a meal with freshly harvested rice, checking your weight and giving each other black rice with blessings for another year. China is the third largest country in the world. Its regional climate conditions are hugely diverse. In early May, at the beginning of summer, the north seems to be still, hovering at the end of spring. But the south has completely entered the summer. Guangxi is located in the south of China. It's one of the most abundant areas for rainfall in China. This is the perfect place for growing rice. I'm here in Bama County, Guangxi, to witness the annual rice planting festival. This is a very important ceremony held on the day that marks the beginning of summer. I'm going to visit Mr. Huang Wenhui, who will be the host for this rice planting festival. The Yao people in Bama have been farming for generations. And apart from the annual spring festival, the rice planting festival at the beginning of summer is the most important festival.
首先，第一，头天晚上，我们的男女不能同床；第二个，孕妇都不能过来；第三个，小孩不能闹；还有什么呢？都尽说好话。一大早起来就讲吉利话，风调雨顺。 种的稻米啊，种的都是又香又好又好吃。
Compared with the Western preference for wheat, the Chinese are known for their love of rice, especially the southern Chinese. This preference is related to the history of rice in China, which of course is where rice originated from. As early as 7,000 years ago, at the dawn of human civilization, the Chinese discovered the miracle of rice. Over the centuries, as rice became the most popular staple food in China, the problem of feeding the most populous nation on earth was resolved. The 24 solar terms, invented more than 2,000 years ago, helps farmers successfully define their farming year, and it still works today. At the Qingming solar term about a month ago, Bama villages had planted their rice into the dry land, and now the seedlings have grown to about 8 centimeters tall. At the beginning of summer, the rice crop is at its most vigorous growth stage. Transplanting the rice seedlings from the dry fields to the paddy fields at the beginning of summer is an essential step to ensure a good harvest. After the ceremony and rituals, the next step is plowing the rice fields with a buffalo. Okay. Yeah. 行，可以吧？可以。你到73还可以接着干活呢，还可以接着干这个呢？
啊，还是干活不？
不累，
不累，没有什么累。70多，我们这里算中年人了。
那我40岁，我应该算年轻的。
那小伙子。
那你把我当成一个小孩就行。
下，这样就可以。这样的话，手朝那里，来回回，这个先这快。
You know, there's always something very romantic about rice paddies, especially when you see them from above and you've got this amazing reflection. And here in Guangxi, you're surrounded by these very dramatic mountains. And for me, this is the first time I've actually got to experience what rice really is. Rice for me is just something that comes at the end of the meal in China. But these guys have been farming this way for hundreds of years, and it's absolutely fascinating. With the worldwide population explosion and the expansion of cities and with increasing urbanization, the deep relationship between human beings and nature, the very source of our food, is being weakened. Not everyone has the chance to be like me here, to experience how to cultivate rice in paddy fields, how to actually produce food. The Chinese have always paid great attention to the beginning of summer since ancient times. More seedlings transplanted in the summer means more grain stocked up in the storehouses for winter. This is a well-known common saying among Chinese farmers.
你拿到这么多秧苗，拿那么多，对。 这样的我呢，现在插秧，这个秧苗是这样的，就2根3根就可以了。
这个可以
啊，右手拿这个。
我是左手的。
你有左手的呀？
对对对，
左手也可以。对，这样子。好的，插下去。
这么多可以吗？
可以，这么多。插下去。好的。
你要
好上来，扶着上来。对，第2个，这个间隔啊，好的，从这里来。
那这个距离要多远呢？
距离有这么多，
这么多？
正好那么长，来一长过去，好的，对，
这个米是最后是在哪儿长出来？
就是从这里都要出来了，
从这里都出来了。Rice isn't only grown in the south of China, it's also grown up in the northeast. But in the northeast, you've got very large flat areas where they use big machines to produce huge amounts of rice. Now down here in the south, and it's 2 seasons. Up in the north they just do it once in the summer, but here they do it twice, and this is the first one. And here in the mountains there's much less land to work with, and also you can't use big machines. So really the farming techniques here haven't changed over hundreds of years, because as Huang Lashe was explaining to me, no matter how good the machine is, it's not going to work as you go up these mountains. So they carry on using cows, and they carry on using the same equipment and the horses that they've used for hundreds of years. But this is a very idyllic lifestyle. I mean, I'm covered in mud, and I've been bent over in the fields planting rice, but I have to say I couldn't be happier. With plentiful rain and sunlight, Burma is lush with plant life, especially at the beginning of summer. Even the most inconspicuous of plants is regarded as a treasure by the locals, and each has its own special use.
扫一下身体，扫一下，这个扫以后的话就是1年4季都不怕虫咬了呢。
多扫点。
对对对。
好。In the mountains outside the Burma village, there are wild fruits that grow, and the beginning of summer is the season when they come to maturity. The local people gather these fruits every year and brew them into a special wine. And Mr. Huang Wenhui says that this wine can give you a very long life.
这个黑的这个熟了，你尝尝。
这紫的还是黑的？
黑的这个。可以吗？
好吃。这跟咱们那个英国有一点像那个树莓。在这里有的也是叫树莓，壮话叫什么？绿冬。 落冬。
哎，对对对，小心点啊，有刺啊，这里也有了。
那这个水果就是到离夏就才能吃，是吧？
哦，对对对，就是这段从现在开始可以有10天时间这样可以采这个了。再过这个往后，这个就没有了。
The Chinese raspberry is a very vigorous plant. No matter what the climate, or whether the land is fertile or barren, green or dry, this fruit can grow in large
到时候
quantities.
这个就可以爆酒了。对对对，我们那边都有多。1年以后，这个酒就很好喝了。这个酒就起到什么保健作用？
那你每天晚上都喝一点，
每天晚上都喝。
是吧？孩子能喝吗？
还是不能喝。
The fruits are extremely delicate and difficult to preserve. The secret of preservation is that it must be done on the same day the fruits are collected, because they deteriorate so quickly. This 有劲吗？
可以喝，
还可以，
你喝一下，
可以喝一点。
尝尝啊。
有劲儿。
可以吧？哎，先放这个下去。
哦。
我们先把这个，
Great
把我们早上我们这边去去。
这有10斤的。我来吧。
好的，放下去。
多少？
全部放下去。
全部。
好的，加冰糖。
加冰糖。
Every year at the beginning of summer, the new raspberry wine is sealed until the next summer, when it is opened and enjoyed at the longevity banquet in Burma.
我们现在把它封起来，封起来就1年，1年以后你再来尝尝。
这是去年的。
这是今年的，去年。
这个是谁教你的？
祖传下来一直都是这样子。
你们都会？
那好。
甜。
The Burma Longevity Banquet is a special celebration of the beginning of summer. After the rice planting, all the Burma villages will make their share of a hearty meal together to celebrate and to wish the elderly good health and longevity.
你把豆腐做成泥，是吧？完了呢，这儿呢，我看一下，这像包子一样，是吧？我也试试吧。可以啊。可以吧？反正我 This is something I've never seen before. Usually when you have dumplings in China, the outside is a bread, it's wheat or it's corn. But this is tofu. So on the outside of here is all tofu. On the inside is pork and coriander. You make them into these beautiful little cakes, and then we slap them down here. What happens next is they're deep fried. That sounds delicious. Look at that. 怎么样？
The food is ready. The annual rice ceremony begins. They've been farming rice for generations in Burma. The staple food here is, of course, rice. But first, it must be blessed in a rice blessing ceremony.
？Well, now that ceremony is over, I have to say that I was very unaware of exactly what was happening. I certainly didn't understand what the Taoist priest was saying. But
But these ceremonies, from what I can understand, mean that once I've had my sticky rice blessed, that it will bring good harvest and longevity. I'm going to live for a very long time.
After the rice ceremony, the blessed rice will be specially dyed into 5 colors, turning it into a more ceremonial food for the banquet. 5-colored rice. The rice is dyed with natural edible vegetable juices. This wooden tool they use to crush the leaves and extract the juice is the same one that was invented during the Han Dynasty over 2,000 years ago.
但不是那种味道想吃。
把这个拿出来，让那个水。开始。
黄老师，现在怎么办？
玻璃。
需要一块布。
纱布。纱布我们放下来，先放红色哦，先处理了对，颜色出来了，红的颜色，等它脱粒。
Beautiful.
脱离了放大米。
来一点。
再来一点。好嘞。
Oh, look at that. The color is shining through.
这个好的，紫色。你看这个对。好了。好了，泡好了以后，等一下我们就把这个水再拿出去蒸。
就这么跑半个小时，就可以了。
就可以了，对。
I can remember my mother telling me you should eat a variety of colors and foods and it will keep you healthy. Now these 5 healthy colors are all here. They remind me of the colors of the Olympic rings. I think maybe the secrets of the Burma people's health and longevity is symbolized by these 5 colors from nature. The 5-colored rice is cooked and the longevity banquet begins. The celebration of the beginning of summer is coming to a close. This is a festival which celebrates good health, long life, and most especially, rice itself. The Chinese have a very deep connection with rice. After all, they discovered it, and they invented ways to cultivate it. Rice is essentially the fuel of China. Planting, farming, and harvesting in harmony with nature. Seasons and cycles, contraction and growth, new life born from old. The 24 solar terms are the crystallization of this ancient wisdom.